4, we're going to be understanding more about decimal place values. In topic 1-2, we talked about everything to the left of the decimal, which are whole numbers. In 1-3, we talked about decimals and their place values, and we're going to continue that in this one. Now, don't forget, the 3 characteristics of decimal numbers is that there is no ones place. Notice, this to the left is the only one that has a ones place. To the right of the decimal, no ones or ones. Notice that everything to the right of the decimal ends in Taylor High School, THS. And then after that, everything on the left side is the same as the right side, and I even have it color-coded. Tens, tenths, hundreds, hundredths, thousand, thousandths, 10,000, 10,000ths, 100,000, 100,000ths, millions, millionths, 10 million, 10 millionths, and so on. Okay, so what I need for you to do is push pause and write this problem, this long problem, and these 3 decimal numbers. Go ahead and push pause and copy those down. Okay, in topic 1-2, we learned about 2 different forms, but technically 3. One's called standard. That's the normal way you see a number. And then there's expanded. That goes without saying. You expand the number out as long as possible. And the third one is word form, or what the Common Core calls number name. So what I want you to do is go ahead and push pause and tell me what you think this problem is in standard form. Okay, now I need to, so I don't need to do that. I need to use this. Okay, so what's 2 times 1? Well, that's 2. Plus 6 times, what is that? 1 over 1,000. So obviously that's a decimal place to the right. So obviously, what comes after the ones place to the right? Well, there's a decimal. What comes next? What's this place value called? It can't be the ones place, because there's no such thing as a ones or ones place to the right of the decimal. So we start with the tenths place, then the hundredths place, then the thousandths place. So 6 times 1 over 1,000, well, what's 6 times 1? 6. That goes in the thousandths place. Well, what happens to these 2 place values? Well, we have to add zeros. And then circle your answer. Did you get that? Awesome.
Stay focused.
37! How is he doing that with his face? 38 V1! Yes! New record! You monster!
Now, go ahead and push pause and see what you come up with, finding this problem out in standard form. Okay, so we have 3 times 1, 3. We have 3 times a fraction, so if it's 3 times a fraction, especially with a base 10 number, we know that we're starting in the decimals. So we have to put a decimal down. 3 times 1 is 3, and that goes in the tenths place. This tells you what place value it's at. So the first place value to the right of the decimal is the tenths. So we put 3. Now, this says 9 times 1 over 1,000. So 9 goes in the thousandths place. Well, what comes after tenths? That would be hundredths. And then thousandths. Well, I don't see 100, 1 over 100 here, so that means we put a 0 down. And 9 times 1 is 9, so we call it 3 and 309 thousandths. Circle your answer. Did you get that? Awesome.
Stay focused.
37!
37.
How is he doing that with his face? 38 Vinland! Yes! New record! You monster!
Now, let's see what this big problem looks like in standard form. So go ahead and push pause and see what you come up with. All right, so we have 4 times 100, which is 400. So we're going to put a 4 down. Plus 7 times 10 is 70. So 7 goes in the tens place. Plus 6 times 1, which is 6. So 6 goes in the ones place. So obviously, what comes next is a decimal. So here, in the tenths place, 6 times 1 is 6, and it goes in the tenths place. So we're going to put a 6 in the tenths place. Here, we have 3 times 1, and it goes in the hundredths place. So 3 goes in the hundredths place. And then 7 times 1 is 7, and it goes in the thousandths place. So there's the thousandths place. So the answer is 476 and 637, place value, thousandths. Circle your answer. Did you get that? Then if you got that, then this whole topic's going to be easy. That's a great job.
Stay focused.
37!
37.
How is he doing that with his face? 38 Vinland! Yes! New record! You monster!
Okay, now on these last 3 problems, they want us to write an equivalent decimal number that equals the same as this, and it's really simple. So I want you to push pause and see what other 2 numbers you can come up with that are equivalent to 2.2. Okay, so this is called 2 2/10. These zeros have no value. So guess what? That's what you could write first thing. 2 2/10. And you could actually just get rid of a 0 and write 2 2/10. They like to call it 20 hundredths. Not me, because that 0 has no value unless you're talking money. So here are 2 numbers that are equivalent to this number. It's really 2 2/10. 2 2/10. 2 2/10. Remember, you can write as many zeros as you want, and it's still going to say the same thing. If you got that, that's a great job.
Stay focused.
37! How is he doing that with his face? 38 Vinland! Yes! New record! You monster!
Now go ahead and push pause and see what 2 equivalent decimal numbers you can come up with for 8 1/10. Okay, this is pretty easy because all you have to do is 1, add 1 0, and then add 2 zeros. Circle your answer. Did you get that? Awesome.
Stay focused.
37!
37.
How is he doing that with his face? 38 Vinland! Yes! New record! You monster!
And go ahead and push. Now, if you came up with 8.1000, that's correct. 00000, that's correct. It's all in what you want to do. I just try to do the simplest ones that are closest to the actual number. Like this one, I got rid of both zeros, then I got rid of 1 0. Here I just added 1 0 and then 2 zeros. You could have added 3 zeros, 4 zeros, and it would be still the equivalent decimal number. So go ahead and push pause and see what you come up with for 2 of these for 4 and 2/10. Okay. So my first answer would be 4 and 2/10 without a 0. And my second one would be 4 and 2/10 with 2 zeros. Same number. You say it the same way. These zeros have no value. So that's why I say you can write them if you want to, but you probably get writer's cramp. If you got that as your answer, circle it, and awesome job. So this is all what your homework's going to be tomorrow when you come into class for topic 1-4. It's just trying to help you understanding decimal place value. I hope you learned something, and I will see you tomorrow.
Stay focused.
37!
37.
How is he doing that with his face?
38 win ones!
Yes! New record! You monster!